I'm not a fan of comic book hero movies, but I love this movie because it reminded me of all the President's Men and you, Dustin Hoffman, and Robert Redford. Am I too far off?
No, no. What I loved about the script was that it was grounded in a way that films of that era were grounded.
1970s.
1970s. That's the golden age of modern filmmaking, modern American filmmaking for me. And when I read the script, it was clear that Matt was hearkening back to that era. A lot of Taxi Driver, like homages inside.
French Connection.
Oh God, all that stuff, man. That's So that was the idea. You're right on. You're right on. Yeah. They played that clip to promote the film early on, and my son said, "Wait a minute, Dad. Why does Batman punch you in the face?" They only showed the punch. They didn't show the lead into it. But I'll tell you, that stuff, it's interesting. This was, I didn't expect that I would be a part of a Batman film, the franchise. I was a massive Batman fan growing up. And it was a joy to do this, but it was also tricky because we were working in the midst of the pandemic. We started filming for about 3 months, January to March. Then we went on hiatus because of this spreading virus, and then we went back 6 months later. That stuff we filmed at the beginning, prior to the hiatus. And in fact, the actor who was playing the officer that I was speaking with, we're filming that scene, the lead into the scene, and you're sensing that something's going on in the world with this pandemic. We're doing the scene, and he sneezes.
Oh.
And everyone in that cell turned to him at once. He wasn't sick, but 2 days later, we went on hiatus. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into Gotham and carrying on with that.
Fantastic. And then OG, it was shot in prison.
Yes. I'll tell you one other thing, just one.
Yeah, go ahead.
The range, the length of time that it took us to shoot Batman was so extreme that there's a scene, a shootout scene. We pull up to the Penguins shenanigans. I step out of the car. I pull a gun. I fire in their direction. They fire back. I drop back behind the car. I'm down reloading. I hear the Batmobile. And so when I get up and shoot in that direction, that's March of 2020. When I drop back down and change the thing, that's March of 2021. Within a cut, yeah.
And now you made me think of something that I wanted to ask you, is the fact that, we're used to seeing Batman movies, it's all about Batman, but in this movie, you become like the conduit for the audience. You become more relatable than Batman in this movie. He's kind of like this mysterious character, otherworldly, and then you become you're very human in it.
Well, he's all covered up, He's dressed up as a bat. So, but it was a wonderful partnership, wonderful working with Rob. Right away, we just found this kind of mutual vibe and a mutual understanding of what we were doing and that we were doing it together. And I think people responded to that. Because it is, at the end of the day, it's Detective Comics. And so Matt really infused this film with that essence. That's what it was. And they were partners together. Sherlock, Holmes and Watson,
And OG, you shot it all in a prison.
Yeah.
And there is most of the co-stars were incarcerated.
Yes.
There is one actor in it that scared the living daylights out of me, Theotis Carter.
Theotis Carter.
Theotis Carter. What was it like for you to work?
Oh, I wanted to do that film. A friend of mine knew the writer, said they were looking for me, gave me the script. I read it, said interesting. But what I wanted to do, we have the opportunity in doing this work to explore many different types of spaces. There was a big conversation happening around prison reform and incarceration. And yeah, I saw it as an opportunity to work, to challenge myself and also educate myself. So we ended up filming inside a working maximum security prison in Indiana, a place called Pendleton. And my co-star, the Otis, was serving 65 years. Another actor was serving, I think, 175 years. Some of the extras were, for life. There was a range of sentences. One guy who's in it has gotten out and is doing really wonderfully. I stay in touch with him. He's got his own apparel brand called Yikes. He's doing very well, Yikes Apparel. But he's one of the few that I think 2 or 3 have gotten out, but yeah, long sentences. And it's a heavy, heavy place. Working there, I never once took for granted that I could go home at the end of the day. But they were incredibly supportive and enthused. It was an opportunity for them to do something constructive, something creative, and they talked, many of them, about seizing on this opportunity to show particularly their families and their kids, those of them who had them, that they were better than their worst mistake or series of mistakes. It was a powerful experience. And I remember the first day, I went over there to visit for about a year before we started filming, just to get to know the guys, to understand why they wanted to do this, to understand something about their experience. And by the time we came to film, I was like, okay, we're actually gonna do this. And I put on that prison onesie, and that was transformative. I would stand out there in the yard and guards would think I was incarcerated, one of the dudes, or other dudes would walk by. And just that in and of itself was transformative, and from a character perspective, but also being in there, the density of the kind of psychological and emotional environment, I was in a different kind of headspace when I was there. And the first day I put on the thing and I walked across the yard and I'm like, okay, am I gonna be able to pull this off? And all these guys are out, playing basketball or whatever, and they're looking at me, and here we are with a film camera over in the corner. And the Otis was there, of course, and some others. And I put on, and I walked across the yard, and a couple of them said, yeah, you got it. And I was like, okay, let's go, let's roll. But yeah, that was an intense one. And I'm very proud of that film and proud of the guys who were a part of it.
Yeah. Let's now take a look at Asteroid City, which is his second collaboration with Wes Anderson, and then followed by his Academy Award nominated performance in American Fiction.